So, that was a waste of a month.
So, hey guys, we're back.
So, just here for a short video today because, well, we were late to the game on one thing and we're trying to be as early as we can to this thing because Spider-Man
is back. And I'm glad that we actually waited because we thought it might be a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of figured like, oh, that's the decision then.
Yep.
No, that got retributed pretty quickly.
So obviously now we're just going to go over this really quickly, give our basic thoughts. Now obviously I think some of you know us a bit more now, and you're going to know where Sean stands on this and you're going to know where I stand on this. He's not happy, but I'm ecstatic.
I have a reason. I don't hate. I'll explain. You go first.
So obviously I'm actually really happy about this because, you know, Spider-Man is integral to the MCU now.
Yeah.
There is no way they could have continued this without it being incredibly awkward, you know, having to explain what happened to Spider-Man.
I disagree, but I'll get to that.
What happened to Spider-Man, what happened to, you know, the whole new heir to the whole Stark Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously that was a big talking point in Far From Home. So now, obviously, we don't have to worry about that, and as well as that, I think with the new deal, Sony says that, you know, Spider-Man's going to be crossing universes. So we have the best of both worlds, in my opinion. We're going to get, hopefully, some other, like, side Spider-Man movies where, you know, Spider-Man himself might show in.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get, you know, Spider-Man still being an integral, wonderful part of the MCU. So I can't wait to see more of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and this is just great. I'm so happy they, you know, found a good solution to this.
And I mean, the benefit of this, like he's saying, you know, they are focusing on Spider-Man jumping from, you know, apparently jumping from dimension to dimension in some way, shape or form. So at least, you know, we're still going to be getting Spider-Man into Spider-Verse 2, whatever it's called. Venom 2 still happening. You know, we may be able to get Tom Holland doing roles in either of those movies. You know, with Sony having their own version of a Tom Holland Spider-Man universe, yeah, and MCU having their own version. So, you know, there is that. We are getting essentially more Spider-Man than we'll probably have ever gotten before.
Yeah, so it's great.
So why am I disappointed about this? Well, me personally, I'll just say it, I'm a bit of a Raimi fanboy. I liked the original movies, I always have. The Amazing Spider-Man movies didn't do it for me, as I know they didn't do it for a lot of other people.
Yeah, hardly anyone.
And the problem I had with the Holland one is it was so dependent on the Avengers, I felt like it took away from his character. My hope was, I knew that the whole deal was going to cave eventually and they were going to bring Spider-Man back, but I didn't think it would happen for a while. Like, I thought Sony would have Spider-Man for a couple of years before they realized, ooh, actually maybe we could use the funding, or maybe it'd be better with this, that and the other. But I was hoping that we'd get some solo Spider-Man movies that just focus on Spider-Man rather than the grand scale of the MCU, because I feel like that's kind of like pulling him away from his own sort of like status. There's already talks about Spider-Man's next appearance in one of the MCU crossover movies, which is one of the ones that he's agreed to show up in. He's got his own Spider-Man 3 coming, and he's going to appear in another movie as like a crossover character. He's going to appear in it, being the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I think it was hinted at by Feige.
I do think, you know, that's a fantastic crossover.
Which, you know, he you know, his comic book history with the Fantastic Four is very well documented.
There. Yeah, so that's actually a great crossover in my opinion.
Yeah. But what I heard was that people were okay with that idea because the rumor is that they would be using Reed Richards as another mentor character. And I'm like, okay, so are we using Spider-Man as a way to sort of label that character's dead because they're a mentor to Spidey? Like, I get it. He's one of the younger heroes and everything, so he needs like someone there. But I feel like if we're just gonna, now Tony Stark's dead, just replace another mentor straight in, he's not gonna develop on his own. So I was kind of hoping that Sony would have the character for a couple of years, maybe do a couple solo movies which just focused on him, build up his character so he's no longer Spider-Boy, he becomes Spider-Man, and then reintroduce him into the Avengers, or the MCU, as, hey, I'm Spider-Man, I'm like a proper superhero now, you guys can take me seriously.
Yeah.
I still feel like the MCU characters treat Spider-Man as a kid, which is fine, he is a kid, but I don't know, every time I've seen, like, you know, when you think of like the Civil War comic line, or you think of maybe like the Secret War comic line, like Spider-Man's a big deal and it's a very seriously taken character.
Yeah.
In Civil War he was just one-liners that, you know, characters could make quips about and just sort of go like, oh, everyone's got a gimmick now. It's like, yeah, but just because of he's very important to Marvel, so I feel like there needs to be a bit more going on. I don't know how you feel about the whole...
I mean, you know, they were building up to a whole Sony kind of Secret Wars style storyline, I believe.
Which I do hear is the next Avengers film will be Secret Wars.
Yeah, so I think obviously as long as they kind of cross over into that whole Secret Wars style storyline, keep, you know, the Spider-Man villains we've had before, and bring it into this new movie with this storyline focusing solely on Spider-Man. As long as they go along that path and keep going with this, I think it's a great path for Spider-Man. So, but Sean is right. They've got to. While I didn't mind the whole mentor thing with Iron Man and everything, they do have to step away with that a bit. And now, which I believe Far From Home set up, they now have to continue with that and make sure he does actually become more of Spider-Man rather than just like a sidekick like Robin essentially. Which
Yeah,
is what
because that's the worst thing is you don't want Spider-Man to become a sidekick.
Yeah, that's what he's
Because he really isn't.
Yeah.
My theory kind of was like, with the end of Far From Home being the ending that it was, where Spider-Man was kind of outed, even, you know, once the news had broke that he was probably going to be no longer part of the MCU, everyone was kind of like, well then what the hell do they do? And I kind of thought that like the easiest thing for them to do, to at least get the vision I wanted where Spider-Man could be away from the MCU, would be maybe he has to uproot his entire, you know, Aunt May has to move along with Spider-Man out of, you know, Queens, out of wherever.
Yeah.
And they have to go somewhere else in America. So not only could we get Spider-Man going to different parts of America, the different, you know, the scenery could be vastly different from the other Spider-Man films where he's constantly in New York, but you could pull him away from essentially Avengers HQ where everything goes down in New York. If there's a problem, it's right outside the Avengers doorstep.
Yeah.
But you could get him in like completely different places, like San Francisco, for example, which I think is where Venom was, right?
It
so
was.
you could kind of
That'd be
do
perfect,
that.
yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Like, there were options they could have done, and it could have further developed Spider-Man's character as a solo hero and then reintroduce him into the MCU, because I feel like that's a benefit with some of the original MCU members. They got their own movies before they had to deal with the MCU's impactful, you know, universe affecting their individual movies.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Iron Man had his solo movie, Captain America had his solo movie, Thor had his, Hulk had his.
Yeah.
You know, and to some extent, you know, yes, there have been MCU interactions with other movies, like Ant-Man, you have him going to Avengers HQ, but like, aside from that small scene where they steal a piece of technology, their story is not really impacted by the Avengers themselves. You know, the idea of, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers impacted Hank Pym's life, but as far as Scott Lang being Ant-Man, not really much of an effect. So when he did his solo movie and then joined the Avengers stuff, he was more of a well-rounded, he's standing on his own character.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is impressive for Ant-Man because, you know, up until that point, I don't think moviegoers really expected much of him. So for him to have his own standalone movie and come into MCU and now everyone really likes him, aside from the random kids in Endgame, you get that sort of thing where you're like, yeah, no, cool, he's his own hero. And I feel like if we'd have had the Raimi trilogy first, and then MCU, and that was, you know, that Spider-Man carried in, that Spider-Man would have a lot more sort of like, in the MCU, he would be a standalone character. At the moment, I just kind of feel like he's either comic relief or a sidekick. Kind of, to some extent, also in his own movies, because I feel like the plot becomes more important than Spider-Man himself.
I disagree there.
Kinda, I haven't really formed the opinion properly yet, so I don't take that as like the be-all end-all what I think. I'm just trying to like work out how everything's going on in my head with this whole thing. But
I do think, to be fair, Far From Home, you know,
Far From Home, there was a lot more development, mainly because Tony wasn't there.
Yeah. And
that helps.
And you know, it was kind of going through his own personal arc. And there was a lot of focus.
Worry for me is just where that personal arc is going to go in the next one.
Sure.
Since we are definitely continuing from the Far From Home arc now that he is back in the MCU.
But for me, obviously, you know, this has been going in a positive direction. It's just whether, it's a case of whether we're going to see if that's going to happen or not. It could still go bad.
It's very, very true. I mean, Spider-Man 3 movies have been long downed with problems.
Yes.
We got one Spider-Man 3 and it was awful. We didn't even make it to the last Spider-Man 3. The fact that this one almost went up in flames too. So there's this mystical issue with Spider-Man's M3s.
And trilogies.
So we'll see what happens with this one. I have high hopes because Spider-Man is still one of my favorite, if not my favorite superhero character. And just because I'm not the biggest fan of this iteration doesn't destroy my like of the character.
Yeah, that's good.
I just want something better for him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's not getting it. And I know people disagree, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, as I'm entitled to mine. I just want less of a sidekick feel for him.
But yeah, so obviously we know what's happening now. There's no point speculating.
Yeah, we finally have confirmation on what exactly going on with the Spider-Man character.
Exactly. So now it's a case of, you know, whether you're on board on it or not. Obviously I am.
And obviously I'm not. But, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, there's a lot of opinionated things on this. So if you have an opinion on it, you know, let us know which way that you
swing. Yeah.
We're trying. Let us know which way that you swing in the comments down below. Let us know, your opinions, your thoughts. So yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
See ya.